Alright, welcome to my channel. This is Rocket and this is the one. If you're a scholar, new or old to the class, this is the video you want to watch. After you watch this video, I promise you will be better at this class. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Scholar Academy. Hi, I'm Rocket and welcome to my channel. If you could leave a like and a sub, I would really appreciate it. And if at any point during the video you know something that I don't know, drop a comment. I'd love to hear. In this video, we're gonna go over my new PvP combos, including my Nodewar combo, and we're gonna go over how I want you to use Scholar in Nodewar in different scenarios. But before we get into PvP, we're going to do a damage breakdown of some of her skills. Why Rocket? Well, I had no idea certain skills were so bad. I also had no idea certain skills were so dang good. And some flat out just don't make sense. So, let's break down her damage. First up, shout out to the waifu. She got on her account and helped me test all the skills, so thank you, babe. I'm not gonna bore you and put up all the skills one by one. This test took well over an hour, but we will go over some of the more notable things for me. What we did, we took a trial scholar and a guardian and took them to BA. Every skill was done 3 times and some even more, and then jotted down. Scholar had no add-ons and she had her earrings removed to reduce the amount of damage she's outputting. Right off the bat, several things popped out to me. First, infinite power turns out not to be her hardest hitting skill. Actually, it's one of the weakest skills in the kit when used without a charge. Even fully charged or quick charge, the skill is still somewhere in the middle, and I would only recommend using the skill after a quick charge. Here's a refresher on how to quick cast full charge infinite power. The first one is the C swap. You have your F into F flow. You have your R&B flow. You have your back R&B flow. Your up E flow. And you have your shift Z rebound. In terms of raw damage over time, the quick charge as a single hitting skill is still one of her best skills. Quick charge infinite power out of dropkick flow is still big boy damage, and I'm going to keep it in my combos. And trust me, I spent an extra 20 or 30 minutes testing infinite power and this next skill because I couldn't believe the numbers they were doing. The next skill that completely blew me away was Hammer Smash. Hammer Smash BSR is more powerful than casting 2 quick charged infinite powers put together. That's kinda nuts. The BSR skill also, unlike the core skill, has a CC that makes sense. The CC is at the start of the skill, then you get the bonus damage from the down attack in the second part of the skill. Even regular Hammer Smash is almost 400 damage stronger than IP, but only sometimes. And I'm not entirely sure why. I understand the skill has a natural DP down on the skill, so it's doing more damage, but it's not making sense to me why the skill varies so much. This skill has a variance of nearly 500 damage. That's a whole Golden Thunder skill. I think Hammer Smash AoE might be stronger at the center of the skill than at the edges of the skill, kinda like Golden Thunder, but that's just speculation. If anybody knows why Hammer Smash might be acting that way, leave a comment. Another one is Hammer Throw plus Home Run. It's great chip damage from range. It's almost as much as a full charge infinite power if you have the proper crit modifiers on it. The test here has no bonus crit on the skill and it's already pretty beefy, so run some crit on Home Run if possible. Hammer Spin BSR is a great skill to use for the added DPS. It's more powerful than a fully charged IP and it has sustain. However, when using Hammer Spin BSR, make sure you don't need it for the re-CC. The BSR version nullifies the core of the skill. Hopefully PA changes it at some point. Another thing that I want to state from this test is I've seen people that want to lock her flow skills. Her flow skills are some of the hardest hitting skills in the kit. I do lock Hammer in the knee flow to get my combo to work properly, but other than that, I'm not locking any of her flows. Those flows have a purpose and one of the kit's best sustains are in the flows. Alright, let's get to this Nodewar section. First I'm going to explain how I use the class in a war and what I think her purpose is. After that we'll do the combos, followed by add-ons, and then we'll go over some different scenarios mid-war. That said, let's break down how I use Scholar. Okay, for Scholar, I use her as a pre-engaged support tank. Her purpose is to jump in early with the Zergs and other pre-engaged classes, find clumps of people, and get those initial CCs. While she's getting those CCs, she's also casting debuffs on large clumps, while also doing damage and casting buffs for their allies. Alright, for all my new scholars watching this video, we're going to explain the pre-buff, which is important before you engage into the ball. You need to have your AP buff, your attack speed buff, and your jump buff. The jump buff is kinda crucial because it lets you get higher into the air, which gives Golden Thunder a bigger area of CC. Okay, now let's get into the combos. Combo number 1 is the bread and butter combo. Learn this one. Okay, let's get a little technical and break down the combo so we can understand the class a little better. So after you've got your pre-buff, you're engaging into the ball with Shift Q. You can use Shift Q BSR to engage deeper in the ball if you need to, but make sure the apex of your jump is on top of the target. More elevation gets you bigger CCs with Golden Thunder, so once you hit that apex of your jump on top of your target, hit that spacebar. First skill up is Hammer Spin. Hammer Spin is crucial for its crazy sustain, and it also lets you get the re-CC or a CC if you haven't already gotten it with Golden Thunder. And we're going to follow that up with down E for some extra down attack damage and slows. Next up, it's kind of important, it's Home Run. It's the kit's best down smash, but also links nicely with attraction. So it lets you reposition and also nullify any damage that's incoming, and then you get to follow it up with another CC from Golden Thunder. After that, we're disengaging, and most targets should be very low or dead by then. Next up, we have a variation of the combo if Home Run is on cooldown. We swap Home Run with C-Swap into Infinite Power. As I was making this video, I found out that Golden Path had extra sustain. So what I think I'll end up doing, instead of using C-Swap in that combo, I'm gonna end up using Golden Path instead. So here's what that combo looks like. Up next are some extended combos. Just remember these extended combos in Nodewar, you probably will never get them all off. They're nice to have in case you catch some targets off to the side and you want to get some full protected damage in. But most likely in the middle of a ball, you'll never be able to cast all of these because it's just too much damage coming in. Okay, for the BSR part, like I said before, I was blown away by Hammer Smash and how good it was, so I started figuring out ways to include Hammer Smash into my combos. Here are some options that I came up with. Just be aware, after Golden Thunder, you cannot go right into Hammer Smash. You need to throw a skill in between. I chose Potential Energy just because it's what I'm comfortable with. If not, Hammer Smash BSR will not re-CC. Okay, let's quickly go over Scholar Sustains because that's kind of the kit's superpower right now, and it's kind of crucial to her gameplay. You got Hammer Spin Sustain, gives you 1050 HP, plus another 350 if you use the BSR. You got Hammer Fall, gives you 840 HP. You have Golden Wave, recovers 720 HP. Golden Path, another 400. And finally, Golden Thunder with 250. Okay, let's get to gear and add-ons. First, we're gonna do artifacts. Off the bat, if you have the Kabua's artifacts, run those. Personally, I run the stamina artifacts with Stomping. Stomping gives me the extra 5% down attack damage. If you have the strikes, run those. But I want you to have as much damage as possible going into these initial engages. The class at the moment has PvP damage reduction problems, so we gotta boost that damage a little bit to get better results. So if you're in a higher tier Nodewar and you're worried about not having enough HP, I recommend buying some Superior World Tendies and Perfume of Charm. For lower tier Nodewars, I like to run the Stamina House buff. If you're a higher tier, run that HP. Alright, next I want you to buff her jump. We're gonna try to get to that level 2 Golden Thunder whenever possible. So just to help that out, I like to run the Soaring Wings Elixir just to get some extra jump height. I also run the Splatfish costume. I'm not telling you to go buy it if you don't need it. For Cap Nodewars, I run both Gallantries, PvE and PvP because I want the class to be a little faster. I also run the Decimations to get me a little more extra back attack damage when I land with Golden Thunder behind them. And for more damage, I'm running Garen's Tier for the extra 1% extra special attack damage. I also run the Histrias for extra stamina. The class is really poor when she runs out of stamina. She doesn't have a lot of skills to let her move safely without burning stamina. Up C is like the only one, so I pop on these Histrias here. I'm also running the double absorptions and the ascensions like I said before. Okay, we're gonna do add-ons here. These are my add-ons for lower tier Nodewars. If you're a higher tier Nodewar, I would definitely replace the bleeds on Hammer Smash and Infinite Power and kind of change those to how you would like. But the most important part that I want you to stay the same is One Giant Leap into Hammer Spin into Home Run. So you want to have your attack speed buff on One Giant Leap to get out Hammer Spin even faster, and you want to have it doing as much damage as possible. And then for Hammer Spin, we want to do a little extra damage, so we throw in the down attack damage there just to boost her damage a little bit, and then accuracy rate just to make sure we're not getting any misses. For For home run, you must have crit rate, but you can change the bleed. You could put in like an invasion shred on it if you want to do a little more DPS just to make sure you don't miss. But I like the bleeds on this because it's 27 seconds of getting to take that 100. Alright, so the last two are Hammer Smash and Infinite Power. I use those randomly throughout war just while I'm trading. So I want to put the crit damage on both of them since they're both 100% crit just to do more damage. And I also have a bleed on them, but those bleeds for me are not set in stone. You could change those to whatever you see fit. I'll probably end up changing them later on to something else. Let's go over different Nodewar scenarios and how I want you to use Scholar. Alright, we're gonna get into the bread and butter combo first. Learn the bread and butter combo how I taught you, but just be aware that in a real Nodewar scenario, when you jump into a clump of people, you're gonna have a lot of eyes on you. So what ends up happening is by the time I cast down E, I'm taking in a lot of damage. So I like to reposition myself and then go into home run for the down smash. Even if you cast an iframe in between the combo, you still have enough time to use home run for the down smash. Okay, here's another quick tip. When you're posturing, after you feed your BSR, go ahead and buff your allies with the anti-gravity buff. The way I like to do it is casting Golden Pillar on my whole ball. The way you spam Golden Pillar is by holding left or right with the directional keys while holding R and B. If you don't hold the directional keys, it won't let you spam Golden Pillar. Okay, up next is pre-engaging. I use Scholar as a pre-engager. In this clip, I want you to pay attention to the minimap. I'm leading the ball, trying to get those CCs early and debuffs with anti-gravity. If you watched my last video where I explained anti-gravity, you understand how the mechanic is helping your ball win ball fights. So getting that debuff and buff on as many people as possible is kind of clutch. Now that the ball is getting to me and these people are low, I'm gonna disengage this and try to attack clumps. As a Scholar, I want you engaging clumps of people. If you don't have clumps of people to engage, go find an annex and force people to fight on top of you. Okay, and this next clip is about HP. We're being flanked from behind by an enemy ball and our shot caller is telling us to engage that flank. If you notice, my HP is about 1/4 and I'm still engaging. And I have enough sustain to do my combo, get CCs, get kills, and then re-engage again. Real quick here, I wanted to show the area of CC with Golden Thunder and how wide it is on a level 2. It's actually pretty good. Always try to have that jump buff if possible. Up next, here's a tip on how to burn annexes and stay protected the whole time. I like to charge Infinite Power all the way through. It lets other skills kind of cool down. So if you go Infinite Power, Spacebar, into Hammer Spin, into down E, back into Infinite Power, you kind of loop that forever and just stay SA the whole time and just burn on top of annexes. As long as the Flame Tower or something doesn't come and bother you, you can just sit there. Now we're going to break down some one-on-one and AoS combos, and after that we'll do some gear and crystals. First up is my one-on-one combo. I know it's unprotected at a section, but it's a one-on-one, so it's okay. If you're using this in a scenario with more people, just be careful. You can get CC'd. And now we're going to do a variation of the one-on-one when you're fighting a grab target and you know that you won't be able to kill him. We don't do Hammer Spin. Instead of Hammer Spin, we replace it with down E. Alright, this next one is a one-on-one combo for AoS. For whatever reason in AoS, the flow from Hammer Punch never down smashes, so you end up missing the re-CC with dropkick. You must skip the flow of Hammer Punch to make this work. Alright, next up we're going to do combos outside of grab. Let's say you catch them with Shift C. So for this one, we're replacing Shift C with the grab, but we still go into the dropkick flow and the rest about stays the same. Okay, so here's the variation when you catch somebody with Shift C and you need to stay more protected and you don't want to risk getting CC'd by throwing out dropkick. Instead of this, you could also use any of the Nodewar combos. Those also work. And also remember that you can always cast the BSR there at the end if you need to. That's another CC you have available if you have the BSR for it. Alright, next is add-ons and crystals. We're going to go over my open world and AoS add-ons. You have your setup down at the bottom if you catch somebody with Hammer Spin or One Giant Leap. And then up at the top, you have your setup out of a grab where you go into Hammer Punch and Hammer in the Knee as your initial buffs. You also have Home Run with a crit rate. Don't forget that one. The 100 bleed is not that important. You can change that if you want. But I also want one thing that I want to point out is one small step. This is different for my Nodewar. One small step actually gives you 20 DP. So I like to run a bonus DP and AP down for the opponent that you're running with an extra 55 DP on top of that, so it just helps with sustain and makes you more tanky. Up next is artifacts. I run melee damage reduction plus untouchable. I try to lean in more to tankiness and to help out Scholar sustain. I feel like her damage is good enough to kill most people, so I run a more hybrid build where I want to jump in and to help my sustain out more because I'm going to be in the thick of things. And then in my open world setup, you run your ascensions here, but I also build in more into tankiness where I run bitterness just to increase my DR. I also run the Hades tier for more protection. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward setup. You got your Elcars and your Lucas, Corrupteds, etc, etc. Alright, we're gonna get into the AoS setup. For my gear, main weapon, I run the Offenset with some powers. I feel like Elcar, she has enough accuracy. And these flaming crystals, if they actually worked, I'd probably use these, but I don't feel like they're doing anything, so I just run the powers. For the Nodewar, I run the Ignore Grapple Resist. You wanna make sure your grab isn't being resisted. So definitely run these, no big deal. Down at the bottom, you see the Hooms. Let's go on to the next page. Alright, up next for the gloves, I run double perforation. We want to speed up the class as much as we can. And then the important one on the shoes, you want to run sturdies to protect you from being grabbed. If you're running the hammer spin core, like I recommend, you're very susceptible to grab. So when people come try to grab you and they fail, they automatically get CC'd. So that's kind of helpful. After that, I'm stacking more into HP with the Hooms and aesthetics in the armor. Just want to build more tankiness and help sustain. Some people like to run the special evasions. I like to run the BSR earrings because the BSR is helpful for me. I end up running that BSR often to catch people off guard with that 100. And then on the belt, I'm trying to build that tankiness a little more into that hybrid build because that's what I'm comfortable with. And everything else is just AP after that. Okay, so we've made it to the end of the video. I know this will help out a lot of scholars out there. I know just making the video helped me out a lot. This one definitely took a lot of work to put together, and I could have probably divided into like 3 or 4 different videos, but I was hoping to have everything in one place, and that would be beneficial to all the new scholar players. Again, if you know anything that I missed, I tried to cover everything I knew. Drop a comment. Y'all need to stop gatekeeping. It's not cool. And I hope y'all have a nice day, man. Take it easy. Peace.